The movie is divided into 3 acts, presented in reverse order. Act 3. Thanks Chuck. The story opens inside a high school classroom, where teacher Marty Anderson notices his students distracted by alarming alerts on their phones. News breaks of a massive earthquake, and within moments, the internet suddenly shuts down, not just in the classroom but everywhere. As panic spreads, Marty is forced to calm angry parents. One frustrated father vents about his collapsing personal life, joking bitterly that even online distractions have vanished. It's clear that normal life is beginning to unravel. Around the world, strange disasters continue piling up. That's when Marty and others start noticing something deeply unsettling. Billboards, commercials, and digital ads all displaying the same message, thanking a man named Charles Chuck Krantz for 39 great years. No explanation, just gratitude. Marty's ex-wife Felicia, a nurse, hears the same message on the radio while at work. Disturbed, she calls Marty, and the two openly wonder if these events signal the end of everything. Not long after the call ends, Marty turns on his television, only to see yet another message thanking Chuck. Outside, Marty's neighbor Gus reveals that a massive sinkhole has opened nearby, cutting off parts of the town. Shaken, Gus confesses his belief that they may be living through the apocalypse itself. As the two look up, they witness an airplane writing, "Thanks Chuck," across the sky. Meanwhile at the hospital, Felicia and her coworker notice something equally disturbing. Entire rows of beds are empty, yet the heart monitors connected to them still show steady signs of life. Whatever is happening, it's global, it's personal, and it all seems to be leading back to one man. With all phone service down, Marty realizes he can't reach Felicia. Worried, he heads out on foot, walking through a city that feels increasingly hollow. Along the way, he meets Sam, a calm and reflective undertaker. The two walk together toward Felicia's neighborhood as Sam shares an unsettling thought: a day isn't truly 24 hours long, but slightly shorter, as if time itself has always been slipping away. Sam reflects on humanity's careless treatment of the planet, but admits he doesn't believe what's happening is just environmental collapse. To him, it feels tied to something far larger, something beyond human control. Before reaching their destination, the two quietly part ways. As night begins to fall, Marty moves through darkening streets and encounters a young girl named Lily, skating under flickering streetlights. She keeps skating until, one by one, the lights shut off completely. At the same time, images of Chuck begin appearing across building windows, glowing like final echoes. Realizing time is running out, Marty rushes to Felicia's home. Together, they accept the truth: whatever this is, it's almost over. Elsewhere, in a quiet hospital room, Chuck lies dying, surrounded by his wife and young son. As the world fades, Marty tells Felicia he loves her. Then, without warning, everything goes dark. Act 2, Buskers Forever. Guided by the calm voice of a narrator, we're introduced to Taylor, a street drummer who sets up her kit in the town square each day, hoping to earn a few spare dollars. Her music echoes through the open space, more passion than profit. At the same time, we meet Janice, a young woman reeling from heartbreak after being abruptly dumped through a text message. Nearby, Chuck moves through the day like anyone else, unaware that, in just 6 months, his life will end due to a brain tumor. As Chuck passes through the square, Taylor switches to a lively rhythm, adding a cowbell as she catches his attention. Something inside Chuck stirs. Without fully understanding why, he sets down his suitcase and begins to dance. People slow down. Then they stop. A crowd gathers as Chuck dances freely, joyfully, as if the moment matters more than anything else. Spotting Janice in the crowd, Chuck invites her to join him. Hesitant at first, she eventually steps forward, and together, they turn the square into a brief celebration of movement, music, and release. Chuck pauses when a sudden headache hits, but he pushes through it, returning to the dance as the crowd erupts in applause. Later, Chuck and Janice help Taylor pack up and ride along as she heads to her next spot. She splits her small earnings with them, grateful for the moment they shared. Curious, Taylor asks Chuck why he started dancing in the first place. He admits he doesn't really know. She jokingly suggests they travel together as performers, but both politely decline. Eventually, everyone goes their separate ways. Chuck walks alone through the quiet streets, passing the now empty square where the music once played. He keeps wondering what pulled him into that dance, and why it felt so important. As Chuck disappears into the night, the narrator quietly reminds us of what lies ahead. Chuck will slowly lose his strength, his voice, even his memories, until one day, he won't remember the name of the woman he loves. Act 1, I Contain Multitudes. Chuck's story begins in tragedy. As a young boy, he loses his parents, along with an unborn sister, in a sudden car accident. With nowhere else to go, Chuck is sent to live with his grandparents, Albie and Sarah, in their quiet, aging home. The loss hits the household hard. Albie retreats into heavy drinking, growing distant and unstable. Sarah, on the other hand, finds comfort in music and old films, filling the house with classic songs and dance numbers. She becomes Chuck's emotional anchor, encouraging his curiosity, imagination, and love for movement. Through her, Chuck discovers dancing, not just as fun, but as a way to feel alive. One rule looms over the house: Chuck is strictly forbidden from entering the locked upstairs room. Albie is adamant about it, warning Chuck never to go near it. At times, Albie also speaks in unsettling ways, claiming he's seen visions of people's deaths before they happen, stories Chuck doesn't fully understand, but can't forget. At school, Chuck's teacher introduces him to a powerful line of poetry, I contain multitudes. She explains that people aren't just one thing, they're made up of countless emotions, talents, fears, and dreams. The idea sticks with Chuck deeply. He begins to see himself as someone full of hidden layers, even if he doesn't yet know what they all are. As summer approaches, tragedy strikes again. Sarah dies after a sudden accident at the grocery store. With her gone, the house grows quieter, and Albie's drinking spirals further out of control. One night, while Albie is passed out, Chuck gives in to curiosity. He takes his grandfather's keys and sneaks upstairs, finally approaching the forbidden room. But before he can see what's inside, Albie wakes up and violently stops him. When Albie looks into the room himself, his reaction is one of pure terror. He slams the door shut and locks it, leaving Chuck shaken and confused. Trying to escape the heaviness at home, Chuck joins a local dance class. To everyone's surprise, including his own, he's incredibly talented. He quickly becomes the strongest dancer in the group and is often paired with students who need extra help. His most frequent partner is Kat, an older girl he quietly admires. During rehearsals, Chuck impresses her with his confidence and skill, even teaching her new moves. She invites him to be her partner at an upcoming dance, making it clear they're just friends, but for Chuck, the moment means everything. At home, when Chuck shares his passion for dancing, Albie shuts it down immediately. He tells Chuck to forget dreams and focus on something practical, insisting he should aim for a stable, ordinary future instead. But inside, Chuck knows the truth. He contains multitudes. At the school dance, Chuck panics. Afraid of embarrassing himself beside Kat, he pretends his leg is injured so he won't have to join her on the floor. Ms. Rohrbacher quickly sees through the excuse and gently pushes him to stop hiding and take the risk. Summoning his courage, Chuck steps out and dances with Kat in front of everyone. The moment is electric. The crowd erupts in cheers, including familiar faces like Marty and Felicia, and when the music ends, Kat surprises Chuck with a kiss. For the first time, he feels truly seen. Later that night, Chuck wanders out onto the empty field and dances alone under the open sky, replaying the joy of the moment. While moving, he cuts his hand on a fence. Years later, he will lie about how he got that scar, claiming it came from a confrontation with Kat's boyfriend, too embarrassed to admit the truth behind it. As Chuck grows into his teenage years, tragedy returns once more. Albie dies suddenly from a heart attack. Relatives move in temporarily, helping Chuck prepare for the next stage of his life as he readies himself for college. While sorting through Albie's belongings, Chuck finally enters the locked room upstairs. Inside, he sees something impossible, a vision of himself as an adult, lying on his deathbed. In that moment, Chuck realizes the truth. Albie had been cursed with seeing people's deaths before they happened, including Sarah's and Chuck's own. Shaken but resolute, Chuck refuses to accept that fate defines him. He tells himself that the man in that room does not control his life. He makes a quiet vow to live fully, to dance, to love, and to embrace every part of who he is. Because he knows now more than ever. He contains multitudes. Thanks for watching. If you like our work, please like, share and subscribe our channel.